Welcome, everybody. I'm Angela Saul with the Village Family Services. Today we are speaking with Sue Williams. She is from North Bay, Ontario. Hi, Sue.
Hello, good
How are
morning.
you?
I'm good, thanks.
Her son is on the autism spectrum, and we do have some questions to go through.
Sure.
First question we got, Sue. How old is your son, and what grade is he in?
He's going to be 15 in June, and he's in grade 9 this year.
And what kind of school does he attend?
He's at the high school here in town, French Catholic Board. No, English Catholic Board.
English. Okay. And were there any characteristics that stood out to you when he was younger?
Oh my gosh, so many. Our situation's a bit different than most, maybe not. We didn't know what autism was. So we just knew he was behavioral, or he wasn't, on board to follow the flow of how kids typically behave. He was known for hiding under things, and now we know sensory issues, but then it was like, why are you chewing everything? Why are you doing this? And so, being that he's 15 soon, we didn't know the autism the way we understand it now. It wasn't the same.
No, back then it wasn't at
And
all.
it's not even that long ago, but
No, no, we've come a
yeah,
long way, I think,
yeah,
from back
absolutely.
then. What behavioral characteristics stand out to you now?
He's still, it depends on the duress that he's in, whether it's like when he has anxiety, whether it's a positive or a negative, it doesn't matter because it's excitement, right?
Mhm.
So, when you're excited, you feel butterflies in your tummy. When he's excited, those butterflies are uncomfortable. So, or he wants more of it. I'm not in his head, but that's the way I'm relating to it, right? So he'll either, grab a weighted blanket, or, he'll find that cubby that's cozy in that corner and that space. So we've actually made room in our home where, if someone was to come in, they wouldn't realize, but it's a spot where he can go sit, where he's cozy in his comfort space, kind of tight.
Yeah,
He likes that tight.
yeah, my
So
daughter too.
yeah, and we learned the deep hugs, the weighted blankets, the compression just really helps settle.
Yes.
So he's also ADHD and ODD on top of autism.
Yeah,
So it needs to be his idea, to a point. He's at that age where I can reason with him a lot more.
yeah.
Um, I don't like using the words high functioning because it's not the right way to describe things, because all of our kids are functioning. But if you were to see him today, he's worked so hard, and we've worked so hard as a family to teach him coping skills and life skills, that he's able to go and mask out in public really strongly, and then come home and kind of like, this is his safe place. So
Yeah.
he'll come in the door and he'll go in his room and he'll grab his weighted blanket and he's like, I need 10 minutes. And,
Yep.
that's the self-awareness is something we taught him,
Yeah.
and he's grabbed, but at the same time, he still knows and he'll feel it that he needs to go and chill.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter too now is actually telling me, Mom, she'll go to her room. So I just leave her and she comes back and it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
The kids are resilient, whether they're typical or neurotypical. Like, it doesn't, kids are resilient. It's about teaching it to them and helping them understand. But yeah, so we still see sensory issues. He's getting better at trying new foods. Him, it's a texture thing. But then again, I'm not very different. So I think that apple didn't fall far from the tree, in some respects, so it's
yeah.
kind of cool. But he's doing really great. And we've been blessed since his diagnosis. For us, it was a real game changer. So we were able to get the supports in place and get the schools on board, and get a real plan for him together. And he's been successful.
Great. That's nice to hear that. What are some of his interests?
Oh my goodness. So the beautiful thing about a child on the spectrum that I've come to learn, because when you have your own kid and you get to meet other spectrum families, they are a very diverse group.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, what are they interested in now?
Yeah.
So they'll get fixated on that one thing for a period of time,
Yeah.
but the interests are quite varied. So Ryan loves anime, and he loves movies, and absolutely loves music. He wakes up with a song, he goes to bed with a song. There's always music playing, and I really feel it's a blessing because it helps him understand his feelings, because he's hearing it in the lyrics.
Yeah.
He's able to get that social awareness a little bit, because he doesn't feel alone, especially with COVID, because everybody's been so locked in. There's been limited social opportunities.
Yeah.
So when he was a kid, it was trains and cars and blocks and army men and all the works. And he would make a scene, like a staging of this big play world.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still kind of into that, but he, being that he's almost 15, he's starting to really evolve out of it. Mm-hmm. Usually you see that kind of play leave a child 9, 10-ish. And it took him 3 to 4 more years to kind of shake it off. Mm-hmm. So he was into a lot of different things, but now he's starting to get more into like what teenagers are into, of course, video games, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. And he's probably really good at the video game.
Depends on which one he's into. He's not into the same ones that most kids are, which is really cool. He's got this Subnautica game, and it's all about searching and crafting, and so maybe some with the Minecraft and whatnot, but he's not into shooter games. He's not into sports games. He's really always about that creative outlet for him. Yeah. He's an amazing drawer and little artist, which caught us by surprise. And same thing with his gaming. Like, he likes things where he can build, create. Again, it comes back to that world.
Yeah, the detail. I think the fine details.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Did he have difficulty communicating at a young age, and how?
So, yes. He didn't really start talking until he was about 3 and a half. He was a bit delayed, partly my fault. He's the second born, and we would just fill his need before he asked. So he didn't have to ask, because it was like, oh, here's your drink, here's your, and when the kids were little, because my oldest is 17 and he's going to be 15. So they're very close in age, and it was like, just meet their needs. Yeah. So that was something that I learned when we went to speech. Obviously we went to speech therapy, and she's like, you're talking for him. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to not do that. So something that's
I think we all do that as moms.
You try to you're protecting, you're nurturing, you're care for, and then really you don't think of it, because you're like, I'm doing dishes, I'm making supper, I'm picking up, here's your drink, I'm doing this, here's your food. Like, you're just in that servitude mindset when the kids are little, because you're always doing. So what I've learned from that in hindsight is, let them ask. Yeah. And then teach them how to talk appropriately, use your manners and all those other things. So he didn't talk until he was about 3 and a half. He did have some delays. So that was part of it. The other part was the autism. We did not know. We just thought he was delayed and that I was the problem. Yeah. I heard that a lot as he was in school, my parenting was the problem. Oh, nice. That was a huge part of our journey. And when you hear the same message over and over again, you should just spank them, you should just do this, you should put them in timeout, and everyone has well-intentioned advice. Yeah. It makes you feel less than. It makes you think that you're not doing a good job. When we went into a program through the school, at St. Alex, the teacher's like, I'm not a doctor. However, Ryan's exhibiting a lot of symptoms and similarities to children on the spectrum. Are you open to having him tested? And I was like, if it'll help him, like, yeah, we're struggling. And sure enough, he was tested and diagnosed, and then the journey really started. It evolved.
It helps a lot, right? Once that diagnosis is in place, and you can kind of follow a path, that will help.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a life changer. It really was for us.
Good. How are his communication skills now?
Oh, he doesn't shut up. I don't know where he gets that from. No, he's great. And, he's well read, and, he's academically strong. So where he lacks in other areas, he was great in school, academically, once we got him situated where he could learn, and move past all those moments of struggle and barrier, etc. And we put him in a really successful situation. He was at St. Hubert's, like, hands down, the best experience we've ever had.
Nice.
And then he worked in an LAC classroom, the faculty, the staff. It made him feel normal. And I don't like using that, but we all crave normalcy. And what that really means is acceptance.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
And he felt acceptance there, and he felt appreciated for who he was.
Inclusion, right?
Absolutely. And so normal to us means being accepted, and he really shone there. And so my boys, they enjoyed it.
Good. I like to hear that. So what signs or behaviors did you notice, and how old was he when you noticed signs of autism?
So again, it's hard for me to define because in those moments I was a single mom, and I had 2 kids that were within the same age range and young. And that self-doubt is there. And so we had lots of outside helpers, and I would, I called hands even prior to being diagnosed, going like, I'm struggling, like, what's going on? And we would work on, bedtime routines and potty training, because again, those were all delays. So anywhere from 2, but I'm going to share a little story with you because it's our experience. So I'm not pro or anti, it's just our experience. And when he was 2 years old, we went in for his needles. And on the heels of the needles, he had a reaction, and he had a fever of 104, and we brought him to the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was in there for 2 days, and they struggled to get the fever down. So his own genetic makeup reacted to the needles, and he came home different. Like, he was different. And it was really from there. I was overwhelmed all the time, and the house was overwhelming all the time, and the house was busy all the time. You have 2 kids under 4 years old. It was a lot, and I was certainly not prepared, but I had great people in my life and people who loved us. And so, we got through the best that we could with the tools that we had at that time, but I don't know if it was always there and I just didn't know, because you don't. When you're a young parent, your experiences are limited. So,
and I mean, you had another child before, which, wasn't the same.
And they're night and day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even matter about neurotypical, atypical. When you have 2 kids, they're night and day. You're never going to have 2 kids the same.
No. No. How old was he again when he was diagnosed?
He was 8.
8, eh?
Yeah, going on 9. So it was quite a period of time prior to him being diagnosed.
Did you have to wait a long time, like before, like when the process started to the diagnosis?
Yes and no. Yes, because everything's a wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, because I think it flowed in the time that it was meant, and we were once we had the thought process that, hey, it might be this, then some preventative stuff came into place, and some support came in place from the school, and some support came in place from hands.
Until the diagnosis.
Until the diagnosis. Okay, like once that teacher came to me and said, hey, I think you should look into this, we put in some measures and kind of, let's see how he'll behave if we treat it as if he did. And we met success. Okay. So then, those kind of supportive moments helped him be successful, and it didn't feel like that big of a weight because we were kind of working as if he had.
It makes a difference when you're on board right before, like the diagnosis, because it can take a while before you get that diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel autism was explained to you well?
When we were diagnosed? Yes. When it was introduced to me, yes. it was mind-blowing. It was like a whole new world that I wasn't aware of at all, you know, and then I was just grasping for answers, and I was like, okay, this is us. Like, we check all the boxes. I can't believe this is our life. This makes sense. This makes me realize that I'm not a terrible mom.
Yes.
You know, and there was lots of moments where I was not my best self, because as a human being, we can only handle so much, and we're not coping, and we can't support others well if we're not supporting ourselves well. Like, that's real.
You're right.
You know, so I was just super grasping at anything that would provide us with, you know, relief, you know, mindset relief, you know, emotional relief, you know, overwhelmed relief, anything that would just like, I'm not crazy and I'm not terrible. And, you know, and then from there we started healing, because anytime where you're not your best self, you create chaos, and you need to heal from that. You need to have acceptance and just grow, you know?
I totally get you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, don't make me cry.
Oh, lots of tears in this lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. So what changes have been made in school since he was diagnosed? Is there any special services for him?
Yeah. So from grade 4 to 8, he was in an LAC class with a maximum of 16 students. Massive change in his life. The sensory overload that this boy would have to deal with was just way too much. The classroom sizes, I think, are too big, on a personal opinion. Whether the kids are atypical or neurotypical. Like, the classroom sizes are a bit big, and that's a lot for one adult plus helpers to manage. And so that's another discussion. However, he was put into a learning accommodations class, LAC, and it was a life changer for him. He started in grade 4, which is the entry of that group, and it went 4 to 8. Like, so a couple kids from every grade level made up this classroom, and he stayed on par with his academics. He was finally able to go every day without meltdowns. He was able, because my son used to elope. So eloping means to run away, but he wasn't running away. He was off exploring. It would just be like, oh, that's shiny, and just go check it out. And
my daughter too.
Right? So there's been a couple times where, like, he would escape the school somehow because he's small and smart, and he was like he would just leave.
Yeah.
And they did their absolute best. So we had safety plans in place, and we had, you know, all kinds of things that we would put together as a team.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that was the most important was coming together with the school. Yes. Working with the school to be a true team.
Yeah.
A true team where everyone absolutely has everyone's back and best interest.
Yes.
And make sure that that child's needs are met.
Yes.
So that is something that was a learning curve. Because, you know, we get in our egos as human beings, and that's not my fault, that's your fault, this is that person's accountable, that's not our situation, that's your situation. All of that has to leave your experience, all of it. And you really just have to be like, what's the bottom line, what are we trying to accomplish? And everyone needs to come together. So we were very blessed with St. Hubert's. I can't speak highly enough of this school. They really just changed our lives with the way they approached the situation, the way they, you know, worked with the family, the way they, you know, worked with the children. So now, not only did he never miss school anymore, so he got confident, because consistency builds trust, right? And so that built his confidence up, and that built his academic skill up, which then added more to his confidence because he felt smart. And he felt accomplished. So all of these positive things just kept building him up. And at the end of the day, that's what we want for our kids, to teach them, to make them confident, to help them believe in themselves and have acceptance of who they are, right? Like, that's what we want. So this school helped us accomplish that. And now he's in high school through a pandemic and he's in mainstream courses, and he's getting every single one of his credits with the support of LAC, with the support of an EA, and all of that is possible because of everyone understanding him, appreciating him and accepting him for who he is and where he's at, and then making it happen. So he's averaging 75% 80s throughout his classes in high school, and he's never been integrated fully like he is now, and he's doing it. Now, we do have, support in place because it's hard. We were expecting to go to high school, and high school was supposed to look different than what it looks like right now. The pandemic kind of came in and messed that situation up. So he had an expectation of what high school would look like. And then he had an expectation of what the classes would look like and making friends would look like. And none of those moments are existing right now. So he's done really well because of the supports that are in place.
That's great. It makes a big difference. Same with my daughter at St. Ange.
Oh, nice.
Amazing teen. Amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. And it feels so good as a parent to know that your child is okay. For that, what is it, 8 hours or whatever, away from home without mom.
Yeah. How many times did you worry about the phone ringing and there be something to deal with? Or, like you kind of have that trauma response when the phone rings, like, oh, is it the school?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, what am I walking
daycare
into now? Daycare, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that again. So next question. Where are we, man? Are you satisfied with your school's program and services?
Oh, it's great. Like, my son's at St. Joseph Scholar Hall, and so my oldest is there too, and he's in grade 11. So I've gotten to know the school, the faculty, the principal, vice principal, etc. So there's a little bit of familiarity already. I was a little bit worried about my son with the spectrum going to high school, and then especially knowing that there was lots of changes, and they made it so seamless. Like, they're so on point, and I was so impressed. And I actually see ya, have a great day at school, and I'll see you at 3:30. Now, I do have his EA who texts me as he wants and needs to, and vice versa. We have strong, open communication. Same thing with EDSB. If I need to talk to the teachers, and that's it. We just, as long as the communication's open, he goes and does his day, and he's successful. So everybody works together. Yeah, it's really nice. Good. So it's a different world from when he was younger.
Oh, yeah. What do you find most challenging about raising a child with autism?
So we're in the teenage years. It's a whole new world again. Because now we have the hormones and the puberty and all that in the mix. So you're always wondering what's normal behavior, what's ASD infused, and because he doesn't get it the same way, Yes, I can reason with him, but an onion has many, many layers. So which layer is he catching on, and which point is he grabbing? And so it just takes that consistency and message and kindness to really, work with him. Everybody is so unique in their individual journey that it's hard to pinpoint, what's the most challenging thing. I think all of it's challenging, but if I could give any piece of advice is give yourself a break, and you're doing the best job you can with the tools you have and the support system that you have in place, and just keep working at improving that for yourself, because if mama's no good, neither's the babies.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one.
We got to take care of ourselves.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
How did it change your life?
The diagnosis or spectrum?
The spectrum.
Oh, I grew up. I grew up. I'm not proud of who I was as, not proud, but that's not someone I would be friends with, who I was when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult. not the healthiest mindset, not the healthiest personality. And I worked hard to evolve from that. And it's because of the children. It's because of the looking inward and supporting them, and really just helped me grow up and be a better person. You know, I'm not who I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and it's because of the work we've done together. When you're involved in helping someone be the best version of themselves, and you're invested in helping them be happy and healthy, you can't help but do that for yourself. So,
Of course. That's
yeah.
beautiful. Last question.
Sure.
Is there anything else important to you and your family you would like to share?
Kindness is the ripple effect. You know, I think labels are great for supporting medication or, you know, pathways and building the situations with government agencies and whatnot, you know, funding, support, etc. So that's great. But truly, we all have something going on, whether it's anxiety or depression or autism or ADHD or learning disabilities. Everybody's got something. So I think just accepting people and understanding where they are, who they are, and just, you know, being okay with that and showing kindness is going to be everything. We all have so much going on. So
Yes, we
just be
do.
nice.
Yeah.
You know? Less criticism, more uplifting.
Yes. Well, thank you, Sue,
Oh, hey, no
for
problem.
being so open with your story and
No
for
problem.
spreading autism awareness.
Absolutely.
From one strong mom to another, I would just like to say that I'm proud of you.
Oh, I appreciate you. I think what you're doing is a beautiful thing. And I would encourage anybody who's got struggle or story, anything, reach out, because it takes all of us to connect to make it happen, to make change.
You're right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks for including me.